Okay, well, I have no idea if this is working because this has been the kind of day it's been for me. Let me turn on my lights real quick. Trying everything I can on YouTube to stop the stream. I'm trying to end it. I'm trying to delete it. I'm trying to burn it. Nothing works. It just wants me to live stream forever. So I tried to make another stream. That didn't work either. So now I'm live on StreamYard. No idea if this is working. I hope it is because I cannot get the actual YouTube up and running right now. So this is what we're going with right now. Again, we were talking about the Mets game like 20 minutes ago, and just the way that there were some good things, there were some bad things. The Nimmo home run was nice. The Pete Alonso grand slam was very nice, but I just didn't like the bullpen, especially Betances and Familia. Hi, Mars Gaming. Hi, Vincent. Hi, Frankie. All right, so I guess this is kind of working. I just can't get rid of that other one. I don't know why it says I'm still live on there. I'm trying to delete it, but it just won't let me. But still, what were the questions you guys had? Because I know there were a lot of questions before we lagged out pretty much. What happened? I wish I knew what happened. My internet went down and it won't let me back in. Like, I'm the creator. And it's like, no, you can't go back in. Just be stuck with the frozen screen. That's how it's been all day for me. I've been trying to get a PS5 all day on Walmart.com. Can't get it because my internet is straight garbage. So that's been the kind of day it's been for me. Then I had to listen to the wonderful ESPN broadcast, see Dylan Betances and Jerry Smith, and I find the strike zone. So it's been quite an eventful day so far. Don't forget, 7 o'clock, we have Mets Weekly coming up. So definitely a busy day for me. I saw that the Phillies destroying the Yankees 15-0. That definitely was pretty crazy. Alec Boehm stepped up big. He definitely is a future star coming up in the league. So that was a nice win for the Phillies. Definitely best of wishes to Aaron Boone and him getting a pacemaker at such a young age. That definitely is very unfortunate. Hopefully he'll be back in the Yankees dugout pretty soon. But I just think that it was so interesting the fact that, like, again, even Sandy Alderson doesn't love watching Jerry's Familia. Like, I feel like that's so telling. And, we know that the Mets tried to trade Familia. They tried to trade Betances, but nobody wanted those contracts and nobody wanted them. And you can't blame them because that's how bad Familia and Della Betances both have been as far as they've been with Mets. And it's just so concerning to me that, like, even though Betances' velo was a mile or two better, they still looked like the same pitchers to me. The command is very inconsistent. The long fly balls. Della Betances serves up a home run. Jerry Familia is giving up deep fly outs. So it just didn't look good to me. But again, at least Trevor May looked good. At least Aaron Loup looked good. Stephen Tarpley looked good again. All right, so about Bauer. Okay, yeah. So we were talking about Trevor Bauer a little bit. And just the fact that, like, you know what? He almost went to the Mets, but almost isn't enough. Like, he's a Dodger now. We can't go back in time. There's nothing we could do about it. So we'll see if the contract works out. Pete Grand Slam, your reactions? I definitely was excited. The fact that he went opposite field, that was good to see. And that's what Pete Alonso was going to do. Like, he had a strikeout earlier, but I feel like that's kind of the hair that Alonso is becoming. It's going to be all or nothing. We're going to see plenty of nice home runs from Alonso, but we're also going to see a lot of unfortunate strikeouts and definitely some ugly swings. But anytime Pete Alonso could get a hold of one, that definitely is very nice, especially when it's a grand slam. Being able to cash in with runners on base is very important. We know the Mets and Alonso struggled in that department last year in particular. So, again, it definitely was nice to see. Even Jake Hager's home run looked really nice later on. I don't think he's going to make this team, so we'll see what happens there. But just Brandon Nimmo really establishing himself as the starting center fielder is good to see because Pilar's gotten a couple of hits. Obviously, we saw Albert Almora hit a home run, but Brandon Nimmo is going to be the center fielder, especially offensively. Mickey Moniak, 2 home run. I saw that. A Double home run, Kingery home run. Yeah, I know there were a lot of home runs for the Phillies. Dylan looked shaky. Jonathan Williams, I agree. I mean, Dylan Betances definitely was not looking good at all. And what was concerning is that, like, first 4 pitches, he got a couple of outs. Then all of a sudden, it's just like the avalanche begun, and they really couldn't get out of it. The fact that they had to roll over the inning, I'm not even sure if it was Familia's inning or Betances inning, they had to roll over. That's not good. Like, rolling over inning is one thing, but I feel like the pitcher doesn't learn there. Like, the pitcher can't rely on – yeah, I saw – Johnny Cage, I saw that. That's a really good point. Lindor called Indian fans lazy for calling Frankie. And then the broadcast, Carl Ravitch called him Frankie twice. Luis Rojas referred him as Frankie one time. So, like, they obviously didn't get the memo. People are still calling him Frankie, and he wants to be Francisco. And there's no problem with that. Francisco is a very nice name. Unfortunately, that's not my name. I just have regular Frank. So I can understand him wanting to be called by his, normal name. So this is very interesting that Francisco Rodriguez had the same thing. He didn't want to be Frankie. He didn't want to be K-Rod. He wanted to be a Francisco Rodriguez. So Yeah, the whole Bauer thing, it definitely was. It's weird for sure. I mean, he's like, oh, I was going to go to the Mets, but I didn't. I don't know about that. Mr. Smile is how I like to call him. Yeah, he definitely showed his smile when he lifted up the mask and all that. And it was good to see. I couldn't really make out much of what he was saying because of the mask. And then with Juan Soto's interview, the whole broadcast itself was very glitchy. I mean, we're talking about how glitchy my live stream was. How glitchy was this ESPN broadcast? At one point, I don't know if it was like in the 7th inning, my screen was bugging out. I mean, the whole interviews, everything. Dom Smith couldn't hear the guys at first. So it's just been a glitchy day all over everywhere. So it definitely was unfortunate. This makes Bauer look worse than he was. I mean, we'll see what happens when he pitches. That's what it's going to come down to. Like, if Trevor Bauer is the reason why the Dodgers beat the Braves or the Mets or the Padres in a playoff series, I mean, it will be worth it for Los Angeles. But if he's not as good as people think he is, then it will not look too good. When's the next SNY broadcast? I know there's a Pix 11 broadcast coming up soon. I want to say maybe like Sunday. Maybe there's a Pix 11 broadcast, but I mean, we definitely need the SNY broadcast back immediately. That game felt much longer than it should have, just listening and all these interviews and everything. It was not fun. And that's how ESPN has been lately. Like, at least it wasn't Matt Vasgersian and Alex Rodriguez, because they're not much better. They might be even worse to listen to, in my opinion. So we'll see what happens. Matt Moore could be steal of a signing, looked outstanding. Yeah, I mean, it was spring training. First couple innings were pretty good. We'll see how that contract works out. And it's so hard to evaluate because people tell me I overreact based off, 4 spring training games. So it's definitely different when the full teams are out there and everything. So we'll see what happens. Is Bauer getting overpaid? I mean, yes. I mean, Trevor Bauer is not worth more than what Mike Trout is making. Like, that just makes sense. Like, Mike Trout is the best player in baseball. Trevor Bauer is not even a top 10 player in baseball, but yet is still making more money than Mike Trout, which definitely should not be the case. So Trevor Bauer is overpaid. I mean, he wanted to get more money than Garrett Cole. The Mets gave him more money than Garrett Cole, and the Dodgers went one step further, and they got it done. Got my braces off after 2 years. That's what's up, Mars Gaming. I probably have to get braces eventually, but hope you're feeling better. I hate being on LMB and ESPN. I want to say why on their beat. Both of them, I can't F. I'm sorry for curse. Well, listen, I mean, you're not the only person that was cursing, because how about Jerry's Familia when he was pitching? They had to keep bleeping it out. I mean, is Jerry's Familia Jerry's Familia is the only pitcher that I could think of where every time he throws a pitch, he yells out a profanity. I mean, and he's still not any good, so he's just I don't know. He's very weird to watch. Garrett Cole is better than Bauer, true. So is DeGrom. Any Mets radio broadcast coming up? I mean, I don't know, but the thing is that, like, I like watching the games. Aaron Nola is better than Bauer. I mean, Nola's had better seasons than Trevor Bauer, but I think Bauer at his best is probably a little better than Nola at his best. How old are you? I am 24 and counting, so that's where I am right now. All right, what else do we have? I mean, it definitely was interesting. At least we got to see the prospects again. Another hit for Brett Beatty. He had a nice hit yesterday, so it looks like they have something going on with Brett Beatty. Mark Vientos has been getting on base, drawing walks, so it's good to see that both of those guys have a little bit of some, plate discipline, plate vision at young ages. Ronnie Mauricio got a hit today, so it's nice to see these young players playing. Like we mentioned, Sean Reed Foley also had a good inning as well. Stephen Tarpley had his second good outing, so all that definitely was good to see. I think Kershaw is better than Bauer. I mean, for his career, Kershaw definitely is better. But, I mean, again, we'll see how it goes this season. They'll be on the same team, so we'll definitely get a much better indication of who is the better pitcher. And we'll see how it works out for both sides. I mean, instead, the Mets get Taijuan Walker. Walker has a better career ERA than Bauer, but it's going to come down to being healthy. That's going to be the main thing with Taijuan Walker, is if he could stay healthy throughout the entirety of the season. Because if he is healthy, he has the stuff to be a very effective pitcher. Do you have another live stream going but not active? Probably. I've been trying to get rid of it, but I can't. So, I mean, whatever. It's very, very frustrating that I can't get rid of that live stream. Do you think the Astros will now be after Odorizzi? It would make sense. I mean, after missing out on Jackie Bradley Jr., you could always use a little more starting pitching, especially with the Framber Valdez injury. So we'll see how it happens. How do you react to the JBJ signing? I mean, it's not one of those signings that I'm like, Mets could have done that. Again, like, instead of giving the $5 million to Pilar, I would have rather just given $12 million to Jackie Bradley Jr. I mean, especially for 2 years with the 1 year opt-out. Maybe the Mets could get him next offseason. I don't know. It definitely is frustrating for sure that, like, we thought he was going to get this big contract, and he got a very reasonable contract that the Mets should have been all over. Sporadic, high sporadic. I mean, this is the live stream. Stay away from that other one. That other one is torture. I can't get rid of it. So this definitely is the live stream to be at to talk about the most recent Mets game. Again, Jake Hager hit that homer, and it just wasn't the praise of games. Like, there were good things, there were bad things, but it still is very hard to evaluate because, the Nationals weren't really using that many of their guys. So we'll see what happens. It was good to see Dom Smith finally play. Didn't do too much, but just good to see him out on the field. I'm excited to see Carlos Carrasco. Again, Trevor May looked pretty good. So what other questions do we have? I mean, those were the main things I really wanted to cover in this particular one. What else do you guys got? I mean, Khalil Lee, so far, he hasn't gotten a hit yet. Like, they've been playing him a lot. Drew Ferguson, he got another hit. So he's actually gotten a few hits. But, again, those are guys that are not really going to make the team. So we'll see how that works out. I feel like those guys are going to end up on other major league organizations. Like, they're going to ask to go to another team, and then they'll end up there. All right, so like I said before I cut out, if Nimmo keeps saying like this, I don't care about the defense. You brought in late game defense. Yeah, I feel like that's how it's going to be regardless. Like, I feel like Brandon Nimmo is going to get the job done offensively. Obviously, we don't know what in the world is going to happen defensively. So it was just good to see that Brandon Nimmo is hitting. And I hope that them changing his defensive positioning, having him play deeper in center field will have a good impact on be able to make his defense slightly better. That definitely would help out. They should get Shane Green since Betances and Familiar are bad. And since Seth Lugo is injured, that's another reason why they should be going after Shane Green. I mean, he makes so much sense for this team. And I just don't like that they're relying on these guys. Like some of the other guys, Jacob Barnes didn't pitch too well. Sam McWilliams, eventually he got it going in his one outing. So the thing is that, like, I don't want to watch the whole spring training and being like, okay, we don't need Shane Green because we're going to use all these other pitchers. And then if by the end of spring training, none of these young guys step up to the plate and show that there are effective pitchers, then I'm like, okay, Shane Green already signed elsewhere. What are we going to do now? I would rather be proactive. That's just the way I look at it. Phillies could get JBJ after testing options starting this year. Yeah, I mean, Jackie Bradley's market is going to be interesting next season. I guess teams want to see, yes, he had the 288 average in the 60-game season. How will it be in a full 162? So the thing is that you always have got to keep in mind Jackie Bradley Jr. is over 30 years old. It's kind of similar to George Springer. How many more years can you get good center field defense out of Jackie Bradley? Like, as of right now, his center field defense still is very, very good. But how much longer will it be like that? Because Kevin Pillar, his center field defense was really good, and it declined so quickly. So I'm curious to see how Jackie Bradley ages. If I'm the Mets, I would take DeGrom out early versus the Astros or delay him until their spring training. Don't want him getting injured. Eventually, he has to get his work in. So, I mean, they have waited a little bit with Jacob DeGrom having his first outing Saturday, almost, at the end of the week. So, eventually, you have to let him pitch a little bit. Garrett Cole already pitched. Trevor Bauer already pitched. So, I think that just have DeGrom pitch a very, very little bit just to get some work in and kind of go from there. I agree. You do not want him getting injured. There's no reason to push it. DeGrom is going to be effective. If they do not get Green, Lucchesi or Pearson has to be in the bullpen. That definitely is possible. I mean, so far, Stephen Tarpley, he's been doing pretty good. Drew Smith, I think, has a very good chance at this bullpen. Sharad Foley has a chance at this bullpen. So some of these guys are going to step up. We haven't seen Miguel Castro or Edwin Mariano Diaz yet, so I'm curious to see how that goes. Trade for Vinny Velo. He was dominant today's price. Yeah, Vince Velasquez, he definitely pitched well today as well. When do you think Beatty will come up? I mean, I could see it happening either next year or in 2 years because Beatty's a little older than some of these other guys like Armstrong, Alvarez, Mauricio, and his bat looks like it's pretty good so far. I like the way he's going to the opposite field. Everything about him, he just looks pretty good so far. So I'm excited to see what Brett Beatty could do at third base. And if Brett Beatty is doing very well at third base, again, what do you do with Mark Yensis? What do you do with Ronnie Mauricio? I feel that's going to be very fascinating. I mean, you don't trade a top prospect for bullpen help, but it looks like that's going to be the one glaring weakness on the New York Mets right now is that, okay, we know that you have the lineup doing pretty well, pretty good rotation. What are you going to do with the bullpen? Like, I don't want to be like, okay, I have all these third basemen. Now I need to trade Mauricio because my bullpen is so bad. Like, that's not the kind of trade you do it. And just to think about something real quick is the fact that All these relievers that the Mets couldn't get, whether it was Brad Hand, whether it was Trevor Rosenthal, all these other guys, they couldn't get them because the closer role was taken up by Edwin Mariano Diaz. And just the fact of like how much the Mets gave up to get Edwin Diaz, when you really think about it, the fact that they gave up Jared Kelenic, who is now the number 2 prospect in all of baseball, plus took on the worst contract in baseball in Robinson Cano, just to get a reliever. You don't see teams do that. You do not see major league teams trade so much to get a reliever in Edwin Diaz. And I mean, just the fact that they did that, it has really hurt them a lot now. And, you know, like the fact that they traded away a big prospect to get a reliever like Edwin Diaz, you don't want to see them trade away a prospect like Mauricio or somebody else to get a reliever again, because that's the Mets' big weakness. Sandy Alston would not do that, but still, it's just interesting to think about. We may trade before the deadline. I imagine there will be some deadline move depending on how the season goes on. How do you feel about Gio Gonzalez getting traded to Marlins? That's a very good question, because I remember early in the offseason, Gio Gonzalez said, yeah, you know, I like to finish my career as a Met. Then we went to the Marlins. It's like, oh, my hometown, my Marlins. That was like, well, what the heck was that? You said you wanted to be a Met. Now you're saying you want to be a Marlin. So that definitely was pretty weird. The fact that they got Taijuan Walker and they got Joey Lucchesi and Yamamoto and all these guys, they didn't really need Gio Gonzalez as much. I would have liked him, but the fact that they got Walker, I'd rather have Walker over Gio Gonzalez. It just was very weird, his reasoning compared to what he said wanting to be a Met, now saying they wanted to be a Marlin. So that definitely was very interesting. I'd rather have Phillies wait to see what they have in the season instead of signing Odorizzi, unless Anderson and Moore suck. I mean, yeah, but the thing is that, like, let's say the Phillies rotation doesn't work out and Odorizzi signs elsewhere, then what are the Phillies going to do? I feel like that's going to be the same question the Mets can be asking themselves if they don't get any bullpen guys and Shane Green is off the market. That was Brody Van Wagner's fault. It was, but still, just the fact that they did that, like looking back on it, that trade just gets worse and worse the more you think about it. Dan Gonzalez signed, yes, he just signed with the Miami Marlins. That's what I was talking about. He decided to go home to the Marlins after he wanted to finish his career with the Mets. So I thought that definitely was pretty interesting. But, I mean, David Robertson, he's still out there. I have no idea who or where he's going to sign. Dan Santana signed with the Red Sox today on a very reasonable contract. The Red Sox got 3 utility guys this offseason, getting Kike Hernandez, getting Marlon Gonzalez on a very reasonable deal, and now Dan Santana, a very reasonable deal. I loved the acquisition of Jonathan Villar. So far, he has not hit at all. Jonathan Villar's bat looks like crap right now, but it's still very early in spring training. We'll see what happens there, because in 2020, his bat didn't look good either. So, again, my problem with Betances with Familia is that, like, you're saying, oh, it's still early in spring training. Familia looks exactly the same today as he did all of 2020. Betances looks exactly the same as he did all of 2020. And Villar looks the same as he did in 2020. So, you know, you don't want to put too much stock into it, but when the player looks exactly the same, how could you not really not like what you're seeing? Which player did not want to be a Met in the offseason? It looks like JT Realmuto didn't want to be a Met. It looks like Brad Hand didn't want to be a Met. So, I mean, there were a few guys that it looks like they didn't really want to come to the Mets. And a lot of times it looked like agents were just using the fact that Steve Cohen is the richest owner in baseball just to drive up prices. They were just using him as a ploy. Like, I'm not sure if the Mets were in on as many players as it was reported, as maybe that could have been the agent. Like, maybe the Mets were not really in on some players, but they just put them as a suitor just to get other teams to drive up their price. I definitely think that could be something that was possible, because, you know, there definitely is a lot of fake news out there and a lot of very false reports that are reported and people believe. So, I mean, it was weird the way the offseason went, that it looked like the Mets could have got some big-time players. Didn't really happen. All right. Thoughts on Zach Eflin? I predicted a breakout year. He's been getting better every year and perfected his curveball and his K per 9 over 10 this past season. I mean, Zach Eflin's going to have a really important role on this Phillies rotation after Nola, after Zach Wheeler. And, I mean, we'll see if he can play together. I mean, pitching is something that is so hard to predict, and you can't really go for spring training. You won't know until the full season, because you could be like Jordan Yamamoto, who you could come up your first 2 starts, your lights out, and then you stink after that. So pitching is very hard to predict. We'll see what happens with Eflin. Thoughts on Jackie Bradley? Again, I can't believe the contract he got, both money-wise and, more importantly, year-wise. So, I mean, the fact that Jackie Bradley only signed for 2 years, that really was frustrating. Mets win. Yes, they did. That definitely was nice to see. The only guy I like in our pen are D. Smith and May. Yeah, I mean, Drew Smith, this is a big year for him, no doubt. He has a very good chance to make this team. Yankees got wiped off. New York 0-15 against Phillies. Yep, I saw that. The Phillies definitely went crazy. Can you try to watch Sailor Moon or anime one day? If I got paid, sure, I'll watch it. New subscriber, that's what up. Hyundai Yang 1987. Everyone say what's up to Hyundai Yang. Thank you. I appreciate it. Definitely love getting new subscribers. It makes all of the hard work worth it. I want to see if that stream is still up. I imagine it probably is. You guys could tell me better than me because it's pretty frustrating. Or is it gone? I think the other stream might be gone on my end. Let me know if it's gone on your guys' end. I hope it is. But, I mean, yeah, I don't really watch anime. Like, again, a lot of my time, it goes into watching the Mets. It goes into watching sports in general or things like that. So, but I don't know. Again, I would have to be paid to watch something like anime or Sailor Moon or all this other stuff. Best Mets game you've been to? Ooh, that's a pretty good question. I mean, I've said this before, but I went to some in 06. I went to a couple in 2019. And the first game I went to in 2019 was that game they had against the Pirates against Chris Archer, where they scored a ton of runs in the first inning. Then the ninth inning, they almost blew it. Edwin Diaz had to come in. They almost blew that game. But there was a game in 06 where the Mets went off against the Oakland Athletics I went to. Jose Reyes had like inside the park home run really early in the game. That was really exciting. But I didn't go to enough Met games to where I was like, oh, my gosh, that was an amazing game. But I definitely am going to go back more in the future for sure. Do you think JBJ waiting this long and getting what he got will affect Odorizzi's market? It could. I feel like Jackie Bradley should be pretty disappointed in Scott Boras because they got nowhere close to what they were looking for. Again, both money-wise and year-wise. So I just can't believe the kind of contract Bradley got. But Odorizzi, like, what team is really going to be like, we need to go all out and get him. Let's give him a ton of money. Like, I don't really see any team doing that right now. We're back. Yes, we are back, Mothman. Thank you for tuning in. This is the stream to go to. Omar, I went to September 26, 2006 and April 27, 2014. Hype video is 2K views. I've been to 5 Omaze. Wow, Mothman, that's really good. Hey, what's up, man? Shy, how's it going over there in Israel? All right, there we go. Now we got more people tuning in. Oh, your hype video, Hyundai. All right, well, I'll have to check that out. You could send me the link, and I'll be sure to check that out. I mean, yeah, hype videos are pretty cool. And there is a lot to be excited about for this team, again, especially with the offense. We still have not seen, like, the full lineup out there. Another big takeaway, James McCann. McCann has looked very good behind the plate, especially defensively. He's throwing out runners. He almost had Victor Robles on his base attempt where McCann threw from the knees, and it was a really close play. And that was with Dellin Betances throwing the ball in the dirt. And he just, I mean – everything about Dellin Betances, his delivery is slow. It just didn't look pretty. But McCann, he definitely provides a much better arm than Wilson Ramos, especially how quick he gets rid of it. The throws are accurate. So I'm very excited to see that James McCann, maybe like the Mets will not get run on as much. That's what I'm hoping to see because the Mets do get run on too much. And another thing I didn't like about this game was Brandon Nimmo getting picked off at first base. That wasn't good to see. I mean, because Brandon already got out in the first spring training game. So I would like to see the base running be a little cleaner. But our link is in the comments. It's actually 00.20 in Israel right now. I'm not sure what that is in my time. We do a completely different time zone. I'm making a spring training high right now, but I don't have much footage. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to get the footage right now with all these away games. Taijuan Walker is even better than Bauer. Career ERA they are, but I think Bauer at his best is a little better than Bauer. The Phillies are apparently waiting for free agents to fall in their laps. Well, they were a little proactive with Realmuto and Didi Gregorius, but at this stage in the offseason, like you're waiting for bargains at this point. Any interest in working with smaller Met channels? Would love to work with you if possible. Do you have a channel where you're making stuff, Andrew? I mean, I'd be willing to work with you guys. It doesn't bother me at all. I mean, the schedule is a little packed right now with all the stuff going on, like with games being played right now, especially during the afternoon. But if I could work into my schedule, I could try to do some collaborations with you guys. Did you know the Mets got cheated in the 2015 World Series? How so? Explain, Hyundai Yang, how the Mets got cheated. It means 12 o'clock p.m. Okay. Apparently 20 seconds. Yeah, it's 20 seconds time. Yeah, no. We do a different time zone. You can wear me, but Mets videos are rare and specials. Okay, well, I mean, if you're doing other baseball content, I'm good with that too. I mean, I like doing other baseball stuff, not just necessarily Met stuff. And again, definitely let me know what video you guys want to see for Saturday. So I've definitely gotten a lot of suggestions, but I haven't quite decided on what video I'm going to do for Saturday. And obviously, Mets Weekly at 7 o'clock on Mets Fans Only channel. Myself, I Talk Studios will be there. Tony Metro, Mets fan from YouTube. So That'll be at 7 o'clock. So I can only do a little more because I do have to eat dinner and then I'll get ready for that stream. Perez had pine tar in the World Series. Okay, I mean, it's, again, like even if the Royals did cheat, listen, the Astros cheated for their World Series. The Red Sox might have cheated in their World Series. So, I mean, like they're going to keep the championships. The Mets don't get the trophy. They don't get the ring. So if the Royals cheated, which, I mean, you're the only person I've seen that said that, it doesn't matter. The Mets don't get the World Series. I do gaming and Monster Jam. All right, I mean, I used to do some gaming stuff, but not anymore. Should the Mets sign Shane Green? Yes, they should, because obviously Seth Lugo's hurt. I don't love Betances, don't love Familia. And a lot of these other guys in the minor leagues, we'll see what happens. Can we make a graphic for your channel? Sure, go for it. I'm willing to take any kind of merchandise or designs or pictures or anything like that, footage, whatever you guys got, send it my way. I will use it. I could use all the graphical design help I could get. Hey, you should work with Wardy and YM collab. I've had a few people suggest that, but you'd have to ask him. He's not in Mets Weekly. I'm not sure why, but that's something you have to ask him. Apparently, I'm not good enough to work with him, but you know, that's something you have to ask him. Green would be perfect. Yeah, because think about Shane Green. The reason why he stands out to me is because all these other guys that the Mets tried to get, whether it was Brad Hand or Rosenthal, some of these other guys, they needed closer roles. Shane Green doesn't need a closer role, so what are you waiting for? There's no way Shane Green's asking for a lot of money, so he makes too much sense for me. By the way, you should make a signature graphic for your chan. Listen, if you guys have like nice little graphics you could give me, go for it. The best Mets catcher of all time, minus John Buck. I mean, obviously there's Gary Carter and Mike Piazza and guys like that. Let's see. You have beef with War? No, I've never met him. I've never talked to him before, but I mean, he's not in Mets Weekly. I don't know why. You know, like you'd have to ask Mets fans only. I don't know if Mets fan only asked him to be in it, but I mean, people who have suggested it, again, if you suggest it to him and he says no, then no, I won't work with him. But that's up to him. It's not up to me. Where's the source of the Royals cheating? Apparently, it has to do something with Salvador Perez and Pine Tar. Does Malik Smith make the team? VR can't hit. I mean, if Malik Smith's bat has something, then maybe. But I don't know. I thought VR would be a really good fit for this team because he could play multiple positions. He has the speed, could kind of hit a little bit. So I don't know. I don't think Malik Smith is going to make this team because his bat isn't good enough. But we'll see. The team is high on Jose Alvarado. He stayed out of the kitchen and lost over 30 pounds. Yeah, no, that definitely was a good signing. A Cubs fan pointed the Royals cheating. Bro, you can ask him no sugarcoat it. Yeah, I mean, no, that's the thing. Like, all right. So we got a lot of stuff. No, I mean, the thing is that, like, I'm never going to sugarcoat anything. I'm never going to lie. Like, the channel is called Frank About Sports. I'm going to be honest. And people could say overreact. Have a lot of people say lately that I'm negative. Like, if the Mets are losing, if they're not hitting, if they're not fielding, if they're not pitching well, and they're doing the things that, like, I said they shouldn't. Like, I said, oh, you know, Mets, you guys really should sign some more relievers. You should do this. And they didn't do it, and then the team struggles. And, like, what am I going to say? Oh, the Mets did great. Everyone played really well. Everything's going to be fine. No, like, I'm trying to be very biased and realistic with the way I evaluate the team. If I think the bullpen doesn't look good right now, and I'm going to tell you that the Mets are going to end up in a wild card game to the San Diego Padres, that's what I see right now. I'm not just going to say, oh, everything's fine. Hey, guys, welcome to another YouTube video. That's not the way I roll. Like, I'm here because I want to get into the sports industry because I truly analyze the games. I mean, that's just how I go about it. What other teams do you support most other than the Mets? As far as baseball, it's changed a little bit because the thing with the Astros is that I used to like the Astros until I found out about their cheating. I like the Cubs. The Cubs are fun to watch. The White Sox are a fun team to watch. I like the Padres. There's a lot of baseball teams I like to watch, but there's no team that I'm like over the top for like the Mets, where it's like if they lose, it ruins my day. Like the Mets are the only team that can do that for me. You're the best, bro. Thank you, Mothman. I appreciate that. What else do we got this year? Mets are not going to win the World Series in like 2 years. I mean, yeah, that's the thing. Like Steve Cohen said, in 3 to 5 years, that's when they're looking to win World Series. So let's see if the team looks like in 3 to 5 years. Let's just get through this year at first. So, I mean, yeah, there definitely are a lot of Met YouTubers now. Like I was here, I mean, before everybody, yeah, I was here in summer of 2019. That's when I started my channel. And it only started blowing up because of Steve Cohen. There was a lot more excitement in Mets fans, but I'm just going to keep trying to do the channel that I can do, talking to you guys. I mean, that's all that matters to me. Like I don't really make any money from this, so I just try to do the best I can. And, I like to talk about other stuff. Like I like to talk about basketball or football or whatever, but I'm just trying to do with what's working. I think we're going to be good when Betances familiar and people that suck leaves. Yeah, I mean, that's going to be very important. The fact that, like, Betances on the last contract of the Betances and Familiar are both on last years of their contracts, that definitely is very important. So, I mean, once they're off the books, then I guess the Mets could go more on building, like, who they want to build. I tweeted this, but the guys that Sandy also brought in were Aaron Loop and Trevor May. They pitched well. The guys that Brody Van Wagner brought in, Dellin Betances, Jerry Familia, they did not pitch well. So I think that when Sandy Alston has full control of what players he wants to be on this team, not Robinson Cano and some of these other guys, I think we'll get a much better indicator of what the New York Mets are going to be. Let's see what else we got. Did you notice my PFP behind Tails? Yeah, no, that's very cool. I like the Tails and Mets background. Unpopular Mets opinion? That's a good one. I'm trying to think if there's any. No, I don't think so, because I feel like a lot of Met fans, like, we see the same things. Like, we know who's good, we know who's not so good. But here's one thing. I've heard a few people say that the Mets bullpen is going to be good. Like, there have been a few people that have said that, and I completely disagree with that. And I'm going to keep disagreeing with that. I just don't see it yet. Like, I'm a person, again, I see when I believe it. I call it like I see it. If the Mets bullpen is pitching like crap, I'm going to say, listen, the bullpen's not pitching well. If their pitching is doing well, I will say they are pitching good. So my problem with Mets fans, I've seen some people say that their bullpen is good, but I don't think it will be. Well, the Phillies are going to be going all out for the next 3 years with Dombrowski. Yeah, I mean, we'll see how that goes. Hopefully, Dombrowski does just trade away everybody. Let's go Knicks. That's what's up. Let's go Brooklyn. That's what's up. I like both of them. Bring back MLB The Show content when 21 comes out. That's a good idea. I might do like maybe some like live streams where maybe I'm playing MLB The Show and we're talking, but we'll see. Thoughts on Donovan Mitchell crying after the game because of the refs? That was pretty interesting. It reminded me a lot of not that many years ago, but that one interview that DeMarcus Cousins had, he was complaining about referees. That's kind of just like a basketball thing. Like, most basketball players complain about referees, and I understand why, but I don't know. I expect more of Donovan Mitchell. I feel like he's better than that. I think Donovan Mitchell is one of the more underrated players in all the NBA. He literally does it all for that Utah Jazz team. They're a great team. He does it all, especially offensively. He could have the ball and he'll score. He'll get it to other teammates. He could score in multiple different ways. He's a great player. Ironic, I'm Jets, Nets, Mets, Islanders fan. That's fine. I mean, I don't see. Just be patient. No one's going to go for you. I swear, I sure hope so, Shy. My unpopular opinion is I hate Matt Harvey. I liked Matt Harvey at first, but not lately. Have you been to Yankee Stadium? And I want to go to Yankee Stadium. That's something I have not done yet, but I really do want to go there. And Cespedes, yeah, I'm not crazy about Cespedes. What's up, Bright Farrer? I hope I said your name right. Cespedes Abandas, I did not like that at all. He needs to be a Knick. Yeah, I would like to see the Knicks maybe go after somebody like Karl-Anthony Towns because he might be a little easier to acquire. But, I mean, we'll see what happens. Again, the most important thing is getting a star point guard. Maybe you have it in Emmanuel quickly. It's unfortunate, like, even though you acquired Derrick Rose is giving you some production that's taken away from some of the young guys' minutes. Like, I want to see Emmanuel quickly play more. Thoughts on LaMelo Ball? I mean, LaMelo's pretty interesting. Like, he hasn't done anything crazy yet. He definitely has a lot of talent, very similar to his brother Lonzo. Like, those Ball brothers, they could do it all. They could shoot, they could rebound, they could assist, they could get some points. But I think that will LaMelo Ball be a guy that could carry you to a playoffs? I don't see it happening quite yet, but he still is very, very young. And Charlotte's just not a very good team. So, I mean, he really needs to get out of there. Kemba Walker was lucky that he got out of there. I mean, Charlotte has been bad for a while now. And it's hard to be a productive basketball player when you don't have good players around you. It's one of those sports like that you really need guys better than that. Citi Field is much better than Yankee Stadium. I will say that I liked going to Shea Stadium much more than I did like going to Citi Field, for sure. I mean, Shea Stadium, I just think is the most beautiful stadium. Obviously, it has a lot of history, so I like Shea Stadium a lot. I've been to Citizens Bank Park, and Philly fans were so annoying. I haven't been to Citizens Bank. I do want to go. I really want to go to PNC Park. That's very high on my list. And I've obviously been to a few Mets spring training games, and that's a very fun place to be. Clover Field, a.k.a. First Data Field, a.k.a. all the other different names that they give it. Y'all need Beal. Yeah, I mean, Bradley Beal would be amazing for the Knicks because he's such a great scorer, but Washington would probably be asking for a lot. Shea can be used for the Jets in Monster Jam. You watch Wizards. What do you think of Wizards not developing Denny Avdija well? The Wizards they stink. I mean, it's a problem, the fact that you have Russell Westbrook, you have Bradley Beal, and your team still isn't that good. Like, you have some other pretty good players here or there, but the Wizards are another team. Like, they failed to live up to expectations. They just haven't got it done the past few years. The John Wall injuries have had a lot to do with it, but the Wizards, like, Bradley Beal needs to get out of there. Denny Avdija, he's got to get out of there as well, so it stinks. Mets need another reliever. I completely agree, Mothman. Thoughts on people saying Robert is Defensive Player of the Year? Simmons dropped 42 points and Embiid dropped 40 last year, Niall, so it's Ben Simmons for Defensive Player of the Year. I mean, Ben Simmons can do it because he can guard multiple positions, but I think that somebody like Rudy Gobert is always going to be someone that has a really good chance of winning it. I mean, Giannis won it last year. A healthy Anthony Davis is a guy that could do it, but Ben Simmons is definitely in the running. Reed is good, but Loop, but another. What I liked about Aaron Loop was that if you saw his delivery when there was a runner at first, the way his knee moves, it was very tricky. He looked hard to pick up and hard to run on. So I like what I saw from Aaron Loop. But the Philly cheesesteaks were so good. I mean, when I go to Citizens Bank, I definitely got to try out the cheesesteaks for sure. Knicks getting Beal would literally be trapping him somewhere else. I mean, at least the Knicks are winning. At least they're, as of right now, a playoff team. So I think that they should try to go for Bradley Beal. City Field is a fan. They say that to me. That's a good point, Jonathan Williams. Like, that's what they were going for. When I went to Philadelphia, because my dad has something to do there, a lot of Met fans liked my simple Mets ride shirt. Mets won that day. At least they won. The only stadium I've gone to is Marlins Park. It's like you're entering a spaceship. It also has a club. That's another place I want to go to, too. I would like to go to Marlins Park. Booker and Kawhi to the Knicks. Yeah, I wish. And now you realize we're talking about basketball. Loop will be great this year. I sure hope so. You know, picking Loop over Justin Wilson, he better be. Damn, you're talking about baseball, not basketball all of a sudden, fam. Hey, whatever the people want to talk about. Stop hating, Knicks haters. When I play MLB 2K12 on the Wii, I destroyed the Astros 58-4. That was hilarious. The Mets 33-0 record. I mean, yeah, playing the baseball video games are a lot of fun because you can put up some crazy numbers and you have a much better chance of going undefeated, because going undefeated in real baseball is pretty much impossible. I don't think we'll ever see it. I mean, we'd be lucky if we ever saw a team get 130 wins. Like, that's how tough baseball is. Like, you're going to lose games. And I just think that to get back to the Mets and their bullpen, I feel like there are going to be a few games for sure that the bullpen's going to blow it. You know, there's going to be games where Familia or Betances blows it, especially with Seth Lugo out. And this bullpen, I mean, this division is going to be very tight. The Phillies are going to be there. Obviously, the Braves and Nationals are going to be there. The Marlins are going to be competitive. So you're only going to have a few games leeway. And I feel like with all these games that the bullpen is going to blow, it's going to put the Mets in the wild card. And I just don't like my chances of one wild card playoff game. We saw what happened against the Giants in 2016. I'm afraid the same thing happening against the Padres. Baseball video games is so damn boring. It could be. I mean, there are some fun ones, like the Bigs is a lot of fun, but I mean, some are better than others. I hit 3 grand slam online game against someone with Pete. That's what's up, man. What's your Mets record prediction? I had to say, if I had to give them the wins, I'd probably say maybe like 92, 93, around there. All right. I also pitched one perfect game with DeGrom. The guy raged online. I pitched a no-hitter with DeGrom against the CPU, but that's about it. I think I saw the New York Giants had a 30-game winning streak years back. Yeah, I mean, you could get a win streak, but winning 130 games would be really hard to do. Who has a better year than new home, Lindor or Arenado? I hope it's Lindor, but so far all I've seen is a bunch of comebackers hits of the pitcher. But I do think that it will be Lindor. I am like, Arenado's a great player, but I am curious to see how he looks going from Coors Field to St. Louis, because that's where his batting average really is effective. If you look at Arenado's splits, his splits really good in Coors Field, average-wise in a way, not so much. The power is the same, but the average is different. MLB is good. What I'm surprised that I don't think Ben is front runner for D Player of the Year. Like everyone says, look at the stats and how he puts clamps down everyone. Mitchell sucked last night. Yeah, no, listen. Again, Ben Simmons is a very good defender, but the criteria that they go for voting, like you never know who's going to win. Like a lot of the times, I don't agree with who wins awards in a lot of sports. So we'll see. Maybe he wins it. Try Monster Jam Steel Titans 2. Is that what kind of game is that? See you later, Jared Eichhoff. Yeah, he had a very bad outing, his first outing. I do not see him making the team. We have 90 in 2015. Our entire team is way better than the 2015 team. It is, but I think the bullpen is pretty much about the same. And is the rotation better than 2015? We don't know that quite yet. So, I mean, we'll see what happens there. The main thing is that, like, the Mets have got to be good in May and June. Do you think the Mets are going to have 95 or plus wins? Not right now. I just don't think the bullpen will let them. I think that with the Lugo injury, obviously the Syndergaard injury, there still are a lot of question marks, especially defensively. So I don't have them at 95 wins right now. Again, 93. My Black History Month project is about Cleon Jones. That's a good one. I mean, Cleon Jones is one of those Met legends that really doesn't get talked about enough. And I'm also glad to see that there is there's going to be the Lou Gehrig Day on June 2nd. That is good to see. There needs to be more stuff for legends. We need more just chilling live streams. Yeah, I enjoy talking to you guys. Patansis has to go. I agree, but you can't get rid of him. Nobody wants him. I perfect 92. Yeah, I think 92 is around where they're going to be. Lucchesi could be bullpen. No, he could be. I want to see Joey Lucchesi pitch. He hasn't pitched in spring training yet, so I'm curious to see what he could do. He definitely has a good chance at this bullpen. Now, again, I mean, the few guys that stand out, Stephen Tarpley so far, Drew Smith, maybe Sam McWilliams, Sean Reed Foley. Those are going to be the guys that will be bound for that bullpen spot because don't forget, even though Brad Brock wasn't good, he did get released and Seth Lugo was injured. So there are openings in that bullpen, and Robert Gazelman pitched today. He was okay. He was lucky he got that double play with the bases loaded. I'm not crazy about Gazelman either, but as of right now, he's another guy that has a bullpen spot. So, again, this bullpen, it's going to be the make or break for the team this year. I mean, there's no doubt about it. And I just don't feel comfortable right now. Dom Smith over Pete, I mean, I guess, but it doesn't really matter. Dom's going to be in left. Pete's going to be in right, so both are going to be out there. Mets will win 95 games easily. Braves are due for a bad year. I mean, I don't know. The thing about the Braves is that, like, they were supposed to be the same thing last year, but they've been good the past few years. Jose Castillo to undergo Tommy John surgery. What? No way. I don't see that. No, there's no Jose Castillo surgery. What are you talking about, Mothman? I'm the only Met fan in my family. Luckily, my whole Met fan, well, my parents are Met fans. A lot of my family's Met fans as well. Moto looks good, too. Yeah, Jordan Moto had a good outing. That's a good one, too. I really like Sam McWilliams' delivery. He has strikeout potential. Yeah, Sam McWilliams is interesting. Like, that dude is a giant out there. He looks like a Noah Syndergaard out there, but even taller. And his delivery, it's very over the top. He was hitting the outside corner. The command was kind of a little over the place. He probably was nervous. So I really hope that Sam McWilliams can be a guy that makes this team. But we'll see. I mean, they need somebody has to step up. Whether it is him or Drew Smith, like somebody's got to step up and be the guy. All right, we'll do a few more questions only because as of right now, I'm starving. I have the dinner before we do Mets Weekly at 7 o'clock on Mets Fans Only channel. So I'll see you guys there, but let's just do a little more. No, Jose Castillo of the Padres, not Luis. Oh, okay. All right. I got you because there's also Luis Castillo. There's a lot of Castillo pitchers. Lindor is yet to have his first hit as a Met. I mean, yeah, he hasn't gotten enough plate appearances. My opinion, Brad Brock's son, yeah, that's why he's off the team. Have some pizza, brother. We'll see. I mean, hopefully I can find someone else to eat. I'm not really a pizza guy. Like, me and cheese don't really mesh well, so pizza's not exactly my first choice. Maybe I'll have pizza tomorrow since it's like Lent. Maybe I'll have pizza tomorrow. I think we could have made more of an impactful moves this offseason. It's tough, though. I mean, like, some guys wanted the closer role. Some guys didn't want to be in New York, or some guys wanted this, some guys wanted that. I mean, it definitely is weird the way the offseason works out. Chili dogs for a Mets win? Maybe. Maybe I'll have some hot dogs with mac and cheese. That's what I'm leaning towards. I'll probably make that like in a couple minutes. But we'll take last calls right here, last few questions. The next live stream, maybe Sunday? I'm thinking Sunday. There'll probably be a subscriber Saturday video Saturday and maybe a stream Sunday. That's the way I'm looking at it right now. Okay. Anything else? Any more food suggestions what I should have for dinner? Or, again, make sure you guys tune in 7 o'clock Mets Weekly on Mets Fans Only channel. Me and all the other guys will be talking about some more Mets stuff. So I look forward to seeing you guys there. But if you guys don't have anything else, hopefully this is the live stream that you guys saw, not that one being stuck. Let's see what else we have. We definitely missed some opportunities, but this offseason was insane. Yeah, it still was a very, very good offseason. Could have been better. It's okay, Frank. You can starve, but if you want to feed off our energy, that doesn't really work. I'm too skinny to be missing out on meals. Let's hope the expanded playoffs gets put opening day. The Mets may secure this playoff spot for sure. The thing is, Tremont, like, I don't want to rely on that. Like, I want to see the Mets get in legit. I don't want to be like, okay, we got in, but it was expanded playoffs. Like, I want to see the Mets get in. They win the division. Like, that's the way I look at it. It's funny how people say Mets failed because they didn't sign Mr. Bauer Springer, but if someone chose one of Bauer, Miller, Springer, Lindor would have won the poll. I agree, Webbs Love. That is a very, very good point. Like, Lindor would be, if I could pick between those four, Lindor would be my choice. So that's a great point. The one guy I'm starting to, like, kind of I guess have a little bit of like, I wish we would have gotten his Real Muto. I don't know why, but maybe because he's supposed to be the best catcher in baseball. He already has the injury. McCann looks good behind the plate, but I just feel like offensively, having Real Muto would have been pretty cool. But again, it didn't work out. He didn't want to be a Met. So we'll see how it goes. I do like James McCann, though. So that definitely was a good consolation prize. But so I will see you guys at 7 o'clock. So make sure let's all get our dinners in, unless unless you have to go to bed and get some sleep, my man, because you're in a different time zone. But what else do we have? I want to expand playoffs so we can make it. Yeah, I mean, everybody wants expanded playoffs, but they won't do it. That doesn't mean you sell expectations. We're high weebs. I want universal DH. Yeah, no, I mean, we all do. McCann almost hit one out. Yeah, McCann's bat looks pretty good. He got a couple of hits, and he's putting the ball in play. So, again, he looks much better than Wilson Ramos. So that's what's good to see. It's just the fact that, like, the Mets are better than last year. That's all you wanted, because obviously the season was bad last year. It wasn't the way you hoped. The fact that the Mets have improved, that's the main thing. So enjoy your meal. We're outbid several times. A good point. All right, guys, going to have to put the foot down. I appreciate all you guys tuning in. And until the next one, be safe, be smart, be healthy, and let's go, Mets. All right, thank you, everybody.